Welcome back, guys. Max here, and I have finally got round to uploading a video which I've been trying to upload since last Monday. Or this Monday just passed, I should say. So this should have gone up on Wednesday, but due to some unforeseen occurrences on the channel, I've either been apologising or I've been saying thank you. So again, thank you guys. I'm not going to bang the labour the drum of that because we have a lot of things I want to get through today, and I don't want to bore you all to tears. So first things first, specializations within Battlefield on the PC side of the CTE. We are going to deal with those. I'm also going to toss in some stuff about the melee weapons that there is currently in the console CTE as well. Not a big fan on making 2 or 3 different videos when I could have easily thrown it into one. I remember before I started the channel, you know, watching other people do videos, and I'm thinking, well, why don't you just throw that in there and be done with it? You've made 12 videos when you could have just made one, and instead of me having to watch this in segments. So I do have a habit of throwing a lot of information into one video. I just don't believe in making 10 different videos to say what I could have done in one. So, but I am going to progress through this pretty quickly, just in the purposes of saving some time, and so I don't bore you all to tears. Nobody wants to watch their telephone or listen to me babble for 4 hours. So, and that's assuming, of course, you're watching it on your phone. Anyway, now, first things first, I do want to talk about the Areevo. Having uploaded that video at the beginning of the week and read all the comments down below, it would transpire that I am not the only person in the world here that actually thinks the Areevo does need a nerf. I think it needs a very serious nerf. And thanks, guys, for agreeing. You don't have to, of course, but it's great to get that popular viewpoint out there. And now the channel is gaining some weight. Hopefully somebody will set up and take note. What I do want to talk about really specifically is some of those comments that came out of that is more off the back of the Automatico video that I put up on the Tuesday, and that was to do with the CTE. A lot of you guys, I've said there that if we don't go and share information with DICE about what we want changed in the CTE, the changes won't happen. And down in the comments section, a lot of you guys have been screaming that you can't. The link that they've put in there only links you back to an old PC thing. A PC link, I should say, takes you back to an old PC link version. God, I'm doing a piss poor job of explaining that. You know what I'm trying to say. Fill in the blanks for yourself. Basically takes you back to a wrong site which is dedicated for PC. There, boom, I'll get it out eventually. It doesn't actually give you any information, but more importantly, the information that's contained within the CTE turns out to be absolute crap. It's an old, outdated version from February that they gave to PC. Now, my question to you guys is, what do you guys think? I mean, is it are DICE really serious about what about our opinion on consoles? Because I don't know about you guys, but as I said on Tuesday, I feel like we have just been handed, almost like a second-hand car. It's like, here, there it is. Shut up, guys. Get on with it. And you've got access to the CTE, but we still don't value your opinion. Because on the PC side, of course, they have specializations, they've got access to the new weapons, and the guys out there, you guys are going to ask the question, when are we going to get the new guns? My suspicion is they will probably update the CTE next week sometime, may come sooner, but my guess is that it will be updated next week. I know they've still got problems with Sony and Microsoft in the background. Sony's still locked out. My PlayStation brothers and sisters out there apparently still cannot record gameplay utilising the PlayStation's recording function, and that's because Sony's got it actually locked out on the back end. And I think that's because they've literally just given us an unfinished version of the CTE. Very, very grainy, can't really see a great amount of things. The sights and stuff are off on the guns. The hit detection's absolutely bloody awful. And so, consequently, I'm actually not playing a great deal of it. I was super excited about it, and we've got a second-hand version. But anyway, that's what I wanted to cover with that, try and throw some news and stuff in the mix. I think we're going to see the change coming next week. And maybe get our hands on a newer map, maybe a higher quality or stuff like that, and hopefully we'll see some change there. But that being said, I could also be wrong, because I don't see a huge amount of support coming down the pipeline from DICE. So my message to DICE, if anybody from DICE is watching this videos, which I highly doubt, but if they are, pull your fingers out your arse, guys. We need some proper content for the majority of your player base. You're forgetting about us, and you're starting to really irritate the console community. So my suggestions to you guys is pull your fingers out, get the job done, and if it wasn't finished, you shouldn't have released it, period. Right, there we are. That's the salt out the way. Now let's move on to the reasons why we're here and the specializations, what is going on the PC side in the CTE, what it all means for us, and what it's going to look like when it drops at the end of next week, month, I should say. Right, so let's talk specializations. What are we going to get? So these are the generic ones that everybody gets, and you can start with 3. So you can slap 3 of these on right off the get-go. And first up is flak. Incoming damager from explosions is reduced by 15%. This one's actually very interesting when we get down to some of the assault specific ones. But anyway, let me rattle on real fast because I don't want to bore you. Cover is incoming suppression is reduced by 25%. Quick regen is the decrease the time before out of combat heal by 20%. Quick unspot is decreased length of time you are spotted by 2 seconds. Bayonet training, bayonet charge lasts 1 second longer and recovers 1 second quicker. Hasty retreat, increase your maximum sprint speed by 10% while you are suppressed. And camouflage, while moving slowly or stationary, you are invisible to spot flares. So these are the specific, or the generic I should say, specializations, and you will have the opportunity to rock out 3 of these right off the get-go. You don't have to, you know, do anything fancy or whatever, but you're just going to be loaded up with these. And flak, the opening one that I started with, is very interesting because it actually stacks on the assault specific juggernaut specialization, which is your gas mask also reduces explosive damage by 15%. Does stack. So basically you can get a 30% reduction in explosive damage by rocking the assault class. You obviously got to be running around with your gas mask on, but rocking the flak generic perk, if you want to call it that, then you get 30% less damage, which seems to me to be extremely strong. And I can see a lot of the maniacs now rocking the Hell Regal combined with wearing their gas mask and rocking the flak perk, and all of a sudden we got 30%. And while I keep using the word perk, am I the only one that feels that this is very Call of Duty? I'm going to throw that out there. That is probably a dangerous thing to say, but all these perks, it seems to me like, you know, we're going back in time to a Call of Duty game. But anyway, that's just an observation as we go. The other specialization within the assault class that is class specific is controlled demolition. TNT is now detonated sequentially. Not entirely sure how useful detonating your TNT sequentially is going to be, but I guess you could randomly drop it all over the map, and you know, if you saw people jumping onto the flag and you were over at D saying, you know, you put dynamite in specific points of the houses, for instance, on the C flag, on not Foul Fortress, what was I going to, the other map, Sinai Desert, then, you know, you could detonate it, I'm assuming, from a distance, and get some kills that way. But I'm not really sure why that is, how that one's going to be utilised. But anyway, it's in the game nonetheless. Now, the medic specific specialisations, God, I'm going to trip over that. Stimulant syringe. Reviving an ally will give you both a 20% sprint speed for 8 seconds. It does not stack with the generic perks. Now, not entirely sure with the way that the spawn system works within Battlefield 1 right now, that, you know, just because you got revived by a medic that typically will revive you right in front of a fella, you're not going to have any chance to run away anyway. But nonetheless, you both get sprint speed for 8 seconds, and it's 20% boost, so you can go, you know, tearing off into the distance like a maniac. Now, the other one is concealed rescue. Down squad mates within 20 meters drop smoke to cover their revive. 40 seconds on the cooldown. So you pick a guy up, you're immediately going to drop smoke down, blind absolutely everybody, just irritate the entire team, especially if you've just picked up 1 or 2 people on the flag, and, you know, let's say you're on a nice roll and you're shooting people off, you know, whatever cliff, or on a nice line of sight that you got yourselves on, and some guy revives the fella behind you. Now all of a sudden you can't see, you know, you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. So I can see that one being super irritating, but nonetheless, that's the medics specializations. There's only 2 of them. Now moving on to the support specialisation, Unbreakable. Incoming suppression is reduced by 75% when your bipod is deployed. So now we're going to promote camping, so we're just going to get a bunch of support players lying on a cliff, all rampaging with, you know, 200 or 300 man ammo drum clips or magazines, or whatever you want to call them. Not clips, magazines, guys, before you correct me on that. And just spraying and praying and not being suppressed by the, you know, getting suppressed in return at all, and just turn it into a complete camper fest. I don't like this one at all. I would like to see that one implemented on the scout class, I'm not going to lie, but again, that would probably make the scouts overpowered as well. But anyway, the other one is pinned down. The duration an enemy remains spotted is extended via suppression. So the more you suppress, you know, while we're all camping on top of the hill with our support guns, the more that we suppress, the extended time the suppression lasts. So if you got a couple of guys within your team that are running the support weapons, and they can just lie there and just spray bullets down onto the flag or whatever, and so long as they're suppressing people, they're all going to be illuminated like Christmas trees all over the flags, which strikes me again that seems to me to be a little bit overpowered, especially when you then start running it with other stuff like the flak and quick unspot and things like that, which is some of the generic stuff. I can see that being really heavily exploited, but nonetheless, that's what it is. And then moving right, lastly but not least, my favourite class, of course, is the Scout. Scapegoat. A decoy is automatically deployed when struck below 35 health by a distant enemy. Not quite sure what they mean by distant enemy. There's obviously a range element in there. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but there it is nonetheless. And it's also got a 30-second cooldown. Don't really see that being of any benefit. I mean, just randomly deploying decoys up and down is okay, whatever. Don't see that as a great perk. Perimeter alarm. When your trip mine is triggered, enemies within 15 meters are marked on the minimap. Again, all assuming, of course, that you are the scout that's lying on his belly sniping from long range and you're not actually moving around the map. Promotes a lot of camping. Set your perimeter mine up, and if it triggers it off, then anybody within that 15-meter radius around that going off is then going to pop up on the minimap. So again, seems to me to be very campy promoting rather than team play, play the objective type of gameplay. They baffle me as to what they're trying to do, and it's very Call of Duty in vibe. But nonetheless, there they are. Digest it yourselves. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Obviously, I've shared with you some of my opinions as we've gone on as to what I think and how these are going to be exploited and utilised. But leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about individual ones. Maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe you guys think this is great. Me personally, it seems very Call of Duty, and it seems to me that a lot of these, especially the class-specific stuff, is going to promote a huge amount of camping. And so the only one I really like on here is the camouflage one that says when moving slowly or stationary you are visible to spot flares. But so if I'm spotting on a flag, I'm going to walk onto a flag and I'm going to come across about 14 people all sitting in the corner. Again, campy, and makes my spot flare almost redundant. So I'm going to need the support guys, suppressing the living crap out of everybody to re-ping them on the mini-map. But let me know in the comments down below what you think, and maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, and let me know why you disagree. If you do disagree, I'm very interested to hear. So I told you there's going to be some extra stuff thrown in here, and I'm also going to throw in here now, I'm going to toss in the new melee weapons as well, and we'll talk a little bit about those. So there are 8 new melee weapons within the new the console version of the CTE, and I'm assuming these are still running in the PC CTE as well. First question first to you guys is, do we really need more melee weapons? I mean, there's an absolute ton in the game. They all kind of do the same thing, and aside from the fact that, yeah, okay, on the picture image wise they look absolutely great, but in the game, if you're meleeing somebody, you're meleeing somebody. I mean, we've got some slight variations, I guess, in the what is it, the way that they kill, the animation, the kill animation is slightly varied, but all in all, we've just got more melee weapons, and to me, I'm kind of like, so what? I don't want to be like super negative about all this stuff, but they're offering something that I just don't think they need. There's other things that they could be working on rather than giving us new gear and new melee weapons. I mean, get it fixed and give the console players a decent CTE for one of them. But anyway, let's rattle on through them, because I said I was going to do it, and this is the 8 new melee weapons that are available in the CTE. This is the Russian fighting knife. Can't break wood, can't break wire, and it doesn't damage light vehicles. Why you'd want to damage a light vehicle with a melee weapon is always beyond me, but whatever. Seems to do kind of the same damage as all the other knives, and nothing really interesting to report here. It's a Russian fighting knife. There it is. Looks kind of cool with its curved up edge, but it is what it is. And moving swiftly on is the axe, my personal favourite. Love this one. I just like the way it looks, and I just like the thought of axing somebody. I think it's kind of cool. Damage is again the same as what you would find on all the other kind of club-based weapons, and can break barbed wire and it can break wood, but again can't damage the vehicles, and don't see why you would want to damage a vehicle anyway, but never mind. This is the Coupe knife, which looks kind of cool. Looks like a machete or something like that, so now you can be like like a Colombian drug dealer or whatever and just go around hatcheting people to death. So that looks kind of cool. Again, kind of the same stats from all the heavy hitting side of the melee weapons. Can break barbed wire and it can break wood. And this is the Areevo. I'm assuming I've pronouncing that correctly. It's a traditional Japanese mace. Very interesting that they've slotted that in on the Russian DLC. I'm assuming the Japanese had given the Russians some weapons at some point. I didn't check my history. Maybe you can illuminate me. But as you can see, its damage stats are like even across the board. It will damage a vehicle if you've got the time and patience to stand there and try and hunt down the camping tank at the back of the map. Then good luck with that. Excuse me. You can go and beat the living hell out of it with this with the Areevo. So that's nice to know. And you can break wood with it as well, but it will not break barbed wire. Next on the list is just a regular straight up hunting knife. It looks very similar to the Russian knife that we started out with. Its damage is down, and again, speed and kill zone is up as you'd expect with a knife. It's designed for super speed, not you know, not heavy hitting and all that kind of fun stuff. You can't break wire, you can't break wood, and you can't damage the tank. So don't rock it. Next up is the Cossack Dagger, which I think sounds really, really cool. This one's got like a really cool graphic actually stenciled on it if you have a look at the picture that's on the screen right now. Says it's reforged from the bayonets of obsolete Viterli rifles. These daggers were carried by the elite Italian Arditi, and this one bears the initials of its owner. So that's I guess that's kind of cool, and it looks like it's got the same kind of hitting power as all the other knives will have in the game. No breaking of wood, no breaking of wire, and again doesn't damage the tank. Then we have the Dud Club, a dud grenade that looks like it would make a mean bludgeon, so totally safe to use, probably is the description. So basically you're rocking a broom handle with a dud grenade on the top of it. I'm not entirely sure if this is historically accurate, but there it is nonetheless. You can go around beating people's faces in with a dud grenade, so that's fantastic. It will break wood, and you can smash the tank up with it, so there's a winner right there. Next up on the list is the Cossack Dagger, which always reminded me of some kind of Roman sword, but I think that looks kind of cool. And the description is also known as the Kangjali. I think that reads highly decorated double-edged daggers that are traditionally the weapon of Cossacks and other peoples in the Caucasus. Again, looks to me like it's some kind of little stubby Roman sword from the Roman Empire times, which kind of looks kind of cool. And again, it seems to have the same kind of hitting effect or killing effect as the rest of the knives in the melee weapon class. You can't break wire, you can't break wood, and you can't damage the tank. And there they are, guys. That is the 8 of them. Leave a comment down below. I'm really interested if you guys even think that new melee weapons are required. Is this something that you guys like? Personally speaking, it's not something I really jump up and down about and get particularly too excited around. There's no real perks or advantages to running different melee weapons aside from speed with the knives, and obviously a heavy hitting with the club-like weapons, and all the statistics seem to be the same across the board. But leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Are you excited to see new melee weapons in the game? Are you not excited to see them in the game? Let me know, and I'll be very interested to see what your opinions are. If they're like mine, then there's going to be a whole bunch of negative feedback, but whatever. So there we are. Been a very long video, babbled on, tried to make it as short as possible, and if you have jumped to the relevant sections, then fair play to you. That's exactly what I would be doing. I haven't got time to sit down and watch a 15, 14, 16, 17 minute video, but I will watch them in stages. And if that's something that you like, if I do a longer one and you want to see me put like a time splitter in there just so you can bounce around and watch it to your own, at your own pace, at your own speed, then let me know in the comments down below, and that's something I'll certainly do in the future and make it a little bit more digestible. So I am going to wrap this video up. I've babbled on more than I should have done. Thank you guys for all the subscribers this week. You guys are immense. The channel currently sits at 1327, I believe. That is ridiculous, and hats off, great appreciation to all you guys. And don't forget, tomorrow, Saturday morning, it will be noon this week. I've got to go and get a haircut. I will be doing a live stream. If you want to jump in and play, if you want to say hi in the chat, and if you just want to interact with me in a more personal way, in real time, then by all means, please jump into the live stream. I do it every Saturday, and now that there's a ton more of you guys in here, it should make for an interesting chat feed. I'll do my best to try and keep up with it. That's assuming, of course, that you all come. But you are more than welcome. Please jump in, and thanks for all the likes, shares, subscribes, fabulously kind words. You guys are absolutely awesome, and I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow morning, or well, it'll be noon tomorrow, and we'll see if we can do some live stuff on the battlefield. Until that time, ta-da.